All right. If you are of the opinion that content marketing is a lower value or lower impact form of marketing, or that it should be a lower priority in your digital marketing mix, I have a reality check for you. You're wrong. And in most cases, when people feel this way, it's because they're not doing enough content marketing to actually make an impact. So if this feels personal, it might be a little bit, but I'm here to tell you 8 things that you can do with content marketing that you may not be doing, as well as about 30 sub buckets that fall within each of those categories. So let's dive into it. All right. Number one, videography and photography. People are highly visual. People are consuming video content more than ever. And if you're not creating high quality video and photography assets of your space and your members and all the inner workings, all the things that are happening there, you're missing out. For one, you can use videography and photography to market your co-working space incredibly effectively, showcasing your products, showcasing each and every single one of your available meeting rooms or each and every one of your offices that are available and helping people really get a feel for them in a way that describing them in words just doesn't do. You could also be out there interviewing your members. You could be interviewing your team. You could be creating photography and video assets that go along with your content. You could be using your video content as the source material for feeding AI to create multi-channel assets. So if you interview a staff member, you can then take that video, turn it into multi-channel asset across your blog, your email, your social media, and take that one thing, turn it into a bunch. So videography and photography are a huge opportunity that includes planning shoots, having a good shot list that explains what you're going to capture on video and in photography, when and where and why and how you're going to repurpose it. You could be capturing B-roll events to help bring your space to life. High quality videography and photography help give a porthole into your business, into a day in the life of being a member of your co-working space or of getting yourself out there as a thought leader. If you're not doing videography and photography, you're missing a massive opportunity. Number two, messaging, positioning, and strategy. What's your core brand narrative? What's your unique value proposition that you offer to each of your various target demographics, your audiences? How are you communicating that to them? How are you making sure that what you offer is impactful to them? How are you creating differentiation frameworks so that you're articulating how you're different from the space next door or the space down the street? If you're not mapping that out and communicating it through your content, how is anybody going to know the difference? How are your potential members going to know the difference? How are AI tools that are providing insights to people doing research? How are they going to know the difference? Voice and tone guidelines. How does your brand sound? How does it feel? What is it? What are you saying? How are you saying it? How are you delivering the messages? Is that consistent across all of your marketing channels? This also is a content marketing function. If you're not thinking about this, then how are you going to keep things consistent? How are you going to create a brand that people connect with and resonate with and that feels consistent across every possible touch point? And then on the flip side, internal alignment tools. How is your team understanding your brand and your voice and your tone and your messaging and your positioning and your differentiators and all those things? Do you have documentation? Do you have content internally that people can review to understand exactly what that looks like in practice? Do you have brand training decks or onboarding materials for your new staff so they can get up to speed with it? If you're thinking about content in terms of blog and email, this is a massive gap. Content is all over the place. Content is externally what people consume about your brand. It's also internally what your staff consume about your brand and how they get up to speed and how you create alignment internally. Beyond that, marketing strategy, your content. What are you putting out into the world and why and where and how? What channels are you using? What channels are you avoiding? What kind of content are you putting out into the world on your blog, in your newsletter, in your email? From discovering your brand to making decisions about whether your co-working space is right for them to finally making a decision to sign up for your co-working space. What kind of marketing materials are you putting out into the world? You need to have a strategy in place. If all you're doing is throwing things against the wall and hoping that something sticks. Third content function that you may not be thinking about, your website. Sure, this is about design and development as much as it is about content, but the content is crucial. What is your website copy saying about your business? When people land on the page, are they immediately being reeled in? Are they immediately understanding the value proposition? Are they immediately understanding who the space is for and who it's not for, who the business is for or who it's not for? Are you articulating things clearly? Are you confusing them? Are you using jargon that might not resonate? Are you meeting them where they're at? Are you speaking to the things they're actually looking for? Or are you speaking to the walls and the desks and the chairs that are in your space? Website copy is crucial. Your co-working spaces, your co-working brands, virtual handshake. And if you're not nailing the content on your website, first and foremost, you're going to lose people. Beyond that, when it comes to your products and your services, are they clear? Are people able to understand exactly what you're selling and who they're for and the pricing? Are they able to explore the specifics, the square footage, who it's ideal for, the perks and benefits? Are you articulating that clearly? This is all a function of content. And if you're not focused on this, then you're going to lose people. Beyond that, on your website, let's think about your CTAs and your forms. What are you asking people to do? Is it booking a tour? Is it signing up for a newsletter? Is it contacting you? When are each of those CTAs being delivered and why? And more importantly, once people complete those CTAs, what's happening with them? Are your forms all set up properly? Is your contact us form or your book a tour form, is that going into your CRM? Are they then being categorized and tagged so that you know who's who and where they're at in their buyer's journey so that you can market to them later? All of these are content functions as well. And if you're not thinking about this, then you might be sending your leads off into the abyss, or you might just be giving them radio silence. Having your form set up on your website is incredibly important. The first job of your website is to reel people in, to inform them, and then to get them to take action. And then what happens after they do take that action you want is equally, if not more important. Number four, and one that most co-working businesses have, but not all are doing a great job of, is the blog. First and foremost, what's the strategy of the blog? What are you creating? Why are you creating it? Who are you creating it for? What purpose does it serve in your business? What purpose does it serve in your audience? So within that, you've got SEO and organic content. So are you creating content that's optimized for SEO based on keywords? Are you getting the right keyword density? Are you formatting the blog post correctly with headers and subheads? Are you chunking the content properly so that it's searchable for AI search, AEO and GEO? Are you doing more organic content where it's more general interest? It's less about attracting people via keywords and more about getting people based on what their interests are? How are you deciding to blend that content? How are you deciding what to put out and where and why? Going back to the marketing strategy, are you creating things for the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, or the bottom of the funnel? Or are you kind of just creating stuff and putting it out there and hoping for the best? And so the blog obviously is a really key fundamental element of content, one that most people do, but not everybody does well. Number five, social media. Again, a lot of co-working businesses do this, but not many do it really, really well. A lot of it is just completely random, no strategy, posting stuff here and there with no specific cadence, no specific purpose for what they're posting or why they're posting it. So when it comes to social media, you have to have the strategy in place. What are you putting out on your social media channels? Why and how? Also, which channels are you using? Which ones are the best for your space? What kind of content are you putting on each of those? Having those things dialed in is how you make your social media perform the best. Beyond that, though, another facet of content marketing is community management and proactive engagement. Social media is a two-way platform. You want to be responding to people who are commenting on your content. Likewise, you want to be going out there and commenting on other people's content too. So this is a core function of social media, which is a core function of content marketing. If you're not out there being proactive in terms of who you're engaging with and who you're responding to, then your channel is just going to be one way pushing things out, which limits its potential. As an extension of social media, if you're running social ads, what's your copy look like? What's your creative look like? These are all core elements of content and they're all core elements of the ad process. So you can put money behind ads, but if the content isn't good, if the creative's not good, if the copy isn't captivating to people, then what does that do to the performance of your ads? Number six, email marketing. This must be probably the most underutilized content marketing tool for any co-working business that I've ever encountered. And what's worse is that it's usually one of the most high performing tools in not just content marketing, but marketing holistically. And so a lot of people send out newsletters for their business. A lot of people send out one-off emails, but that is just scratching the surface of what you can do with email marketing. So let's break this down into two big buckets. So we'll dive into each of them and talk about the multitude of things that you can do with both. First are automated emails. So these are things that happen automatically without you having to manually activate them. And the second is broadcasts, which is more one-off communication that you would manually put into play. So let's dive into email automations first. Think about onboarding sequences and welcome emails. If right now your new customers or your new members are getting automatically onboarded by a member of your team, this is a massive time suck for them, and it's something that could very easily be automated. You could have an automation sequence in place so that 24 hours before a member joins your space or a new customer is onboarded, they are getting all the information that they need ahead of time to get set up and get to work in your space. This could be things like Wi-Fi information, how to access the building, where to park, who the team members are, whatever it might be, all the essential information that you would send in an onboarding email to any new member. This could all be automated. And then you can take this a step further and have check-ins, weekly check-in, 2-week check-in, 1-month check-in, saying, hey, how's it going? Any feedback? Have you had a chance to book a meeting room yet? Have you had a chance to whatever it might be? So you can add steps to check in and make your member feel valued and make you feel like it's a high touch process and actually eliminate the amount of manual work required from your team. Another automation you can have in place is engagement surveys. You can put together a Google form asking 10 questions of your members about, how their experience has been. You can gather data and insights that you can use to optimize operations, that you can use to optimize the member experience, and things that you can put into play within your business straight from the people who use your space. This can be automated so that you're sending it out quarterly to existing members. And it can also be triggered so that after 90 days of being a member, somebody's getting that feedback survey as well. And so this isn't something that you have to manually remember to set up and send every quarter. And it's not something you have to manually remember to send to every member after 90 days. It just happens in the background and it delivers you real actionable data that you can use to optimize your business. Number 3, renewal nudges and billing. So if you've got a member coming up for renewal in 30 or 60 or 90 days, you can have a sequence set up to start reminding them, hey, your renewal date's coming up. Here's what you need to do. These are all manual practices that your team would take on that you can automate so that they don't even have to think about it. You just know it's happening in the background. Another automation you can do is exit surveys. So if somebody's leaving your space, do they get an automated email 2 weeks before they leave asking, is there anything that we could have done? Is there any feedback that you'd like to share with us? Your insights and feedback and thoughts will help us make the space and the experience even better for future members. That can be automated as well. You don't have to remember to do that. Just have it set up and it goes out on its own. Drip campaigns. So let's use the example of paying for Google Ads. Let's say you spend money to get a lead and they come into your funnel. What happens once they hit your CRM? Is it manually up to your sales team to reach out, or is there some sort of automated response via email that they get right away? Likewise, if you get a lead from Google Ads, it doesn't convert right away. What happens to that lead? We call these re-engagement sequences. So if you pay for a lead that comes into your CRM, they don't convert. What happens to that lead that you've paid for then? Does it just go into the abyss? Does it go into the oblivion? Do they never hear from you again? Or do you set up automated sequences that strategically help try to re-engage them, send them special offers, send them nudges, whatever it might be, to get them from a lapsed lead back to an interested lead? If you don't have these in place and you're just letting a member lead that doesn't convert go into your CRM and vanish, then you are literally wasting money that you've spent to get a lead. Tour follow-ups, this is another one. Oftentimes this falls to a community team to have to do the follow-up on their own. So if somebody comes in for a tour, whether they booked it and you want to give them instructions on where to park and who to meet, or the tour is done and you want to follow up with them to nudge them closer and closer to conversion, having this automation in place allows that to come off of your team's plate. So it's one less thing for them to forget and one less thing for them to manage and one more consistent touch point that you can give to a lead over time. So let's say that you've managed your CRM and your leads properly through your website, and you have all of your leads coming in based on their interests. So if somebody's interested in a private office, but you have a wait list, then they're in your system as a wait list who are interested in private offices. Or likewise, if you have a member who wants to upgrade from a dedicated desk to a private office, but you don't have one available, you can have an automation set up so that when an office becomes available based on the interest that they have in terms of size, price, availability, whatever it might be, as soon as that office becomes available, you can automatically let them know, hey, we've got one coming up in 60 days. If you're interested, let us know. That just helps automate your sales process a little bit more. You're not responsible for remembering who's interested in what and when and where. They just automatically get an update that, hey, something's becoming available. First come, first serve, put your name in if you want it. Following up with event bookings and meeting room bookings. If somebody books an event at your coworking space or books a meeting room, or if they're a guest of a member who comes to use your meeting room, but you've collected their information, how are you going about turning them from a one-time user into a repeat user into ideally a membership-based user? So if somebody books a meeting room or a conference room and you understand that they are a solopreneur who lives in the area, how are you getting them to come back for more meeting room bookings? And then from there, how are you converting them from a meeting room user into an ongoing user, whether that's a co-working member, a dedicated desk member, or a private office member? Having automations in place that help guide people through that funnel in a strategic way and incentivize them and give them the right information and the right prompts and cues can actually help you turn that one-time revenue into a long-term user if you have that set up. And again, it doesn't have to be something that your team manually handles. This can be a process that's running in the background. So obviously, another one here is automating Google reviews and testimonials for your coworking space that you can use on your website. Obviously, everybody uses Google, even as AI search becomes more popular. It's one of the first things people look at when they research your coworking space is your Google reviews. How many 5-star reviews do you have? Instead of asking somebody proactively to leave you a review, you can set up automated triggers so that after they booked a meeting room or after they've been in your space for 3 months or 6 months or however long it is, you send them a gentle nudge saying, hey, if you've enjoyed your experience, we would love if you would leave us a review. Here's the link. And this is, again, is not something that you need to manually manage. Here's another one that I like: event driven automation. So the more you know about your members, the better. Birthdays, anniversaries, kids' birthdays, dogs' birthdays, wives' birthdays, whatever else you know about them, you can set up automation so that they're getting a happy birthday or a happy anniversary or whatever it might be automatically. Creating a high touch feel is such an easy little win that you can have in place. So those are automations. Those are the things that you can put on autopilot in the background so that they're running and creating business results without you actually having to manage them. There's also broadcast emails. A broadcast email is basically anything that you have to proactively push out on your own. So newsletters, blog promotions, whatever it might be. And so there's a lot you can do in terms of this too, right? Blog repurposing. So anytime you put new content in your blog, you can send it out in an email. You can do a newsletter. You can do internal or external newsletters. So the content is tailored based on who's receiving it. So you're not, you don't want to send special offers to existing members. You want to send special offers to potential members so that you're not barraging your current members with information that they don't need. You can send community and event recaps, whether that's to all of your members or to people who've expressed interest, to kind of give them a view into your space and give them a little bit of FOMO. You can send special offers and tour and trial CTAs. So, if you got a special offer for free month with the purchase of an office, then you can do that. Likewise, if you have free day passes that you're giving away or whatever it might be, you can send those out in the broadcast as well. You can also do event updates and follow-ups. You can send housekeeping or internal communications. And much like the automation for events that we talked about before, you can do the same thing for your members as well. So if you know they've had a big win coming up or they've had a major milestone in their business or whatever it might be, you can proactively send a broadcast email congratulating them on that too. Beyond that, list health and list management. So who's in your email list? Where are they coming from? Are you capturing emails at every possible opportunity? And then are those emails tagged based on preferences or interests or whatever it might be so that you can market more effectively? Email marketing is massively important. Having your list tagged and segmented properly allows you to customize your marketing way more impactfully, in turn creating better results, helping to boost sales, helping to boost retention, helping to boost conversions. You can also look at SMS messaging. So are you sending text reminders? Are you sending text marketing? Some people love it, some people don't. Again, another content marketing function that you might not be thinking about. Number 7, digital PR. So talk a lot about this in terms of AEO and GEO. So answer engine optimization and generative engine optimization, also known as AI search. One of the big things that the LLMs are looking for is reputation. So they want to see that there is credibility behind your brand before they serve it up to potential members, to people who are searching. So this could be, building your reputation by sharing thought leadership as the business owner. It could be pitching guest articles to other relevant publications to get backlinks. It could be traditional and digital PR strategies like pitching news about your space or things that you're doing or initiatives or whatever it might be to traditional media outlets like newspapers and TV stations or whatever it might be. It can be profile building. You can be putting yourself out there to people so that they become more familiar with you and your thoughts and your ideas, what you offer and who it's for. So digital and traditional PR are becoming way more important in 2026 and beyond. And again, this is a content marketing function that most people don't think of, but is massively important for AI search and for turning up where people are searching for you today. Number 8, owned resources. So I talked about this in my 2026 trends, but I think things like YouTube and podcasting are going to become bigger and bigger as people search for more and more human connection in the age of AI content. However, these elements also provide you with source material that you can then funnel into AI to turn one video or one podcast into 20 assets across 6 different channels, from social to blog to email to whatever else it might be. So all these things are owned resources that are on your channels that carry your name. Last but not least, number 9, internal assets. So a lot of the time when we think about content marketing, we think of it in terms of external communications, external content. And that's true, but it's also only one part of the equation. So think about developing sales materials. These are things that can be sent before, during, or after the sales process or before those conversations happen. So if you have an archive of sales materials, whether they're blogs or whether they're internal documentation that you can send to people based on where they're at in the sales process, based on the questions they have, these are all things that help nudge people through that funnel. It can be creating info for your portal. So if you have a member portal where all your instructions are at, you can create content that helps people understand how every single element of your coworking space works. so there's always a resource to answer every question that they have. This not only makes it easier for them to navigate, makes it more convenient, it also makes it easier. It also lessens the time requirements or the questions that are coming to your community team because those resources are more readily available. This also applies to SOP development. So I talk a lot about SOPs or standard operating procedures in terms of how you manage your marketing and what the process is for your content. But this can also be in building out SOPs for every part of your business, whether it's opening and closing procedures, whether it's sales procedures, whatever it might be. Who's building that documentation? Where is it being stored? And how is it being updated and used by your staff to optimize the way that your business functions? Last but not least, you can look at things like interactive tool development. So you can be creating calculators for how much money people will save in picking a co-working space over a traditional lease or whatever it might be, and then putting those things out into your content or using them as things that you can share in the sales process. So what's my point here? My point is not that you need to be doing every single one of these 9 things. It's just that if you're not doing at least some of them, you're only scratching the surface of the full potential of content marketing. Look, don't get me wrong, blogs and emails are great, but they're only one small fraction of the content that you can be creating internally and externally, automated and manual, to help create better business outcomes for your co-working space. So for anybody who's out there feeling like content marketing doesn't provide an ROI or the content marketing is not worth the investment, I would ask you to consider, how many of these 9 things are you doing? You don't have to do them all, but if you're not doing at least some of them, then you're completely underutilizing the potential of content marketing, and I would advise you to reconsider.